My annuals from Proven Winners have arrived, and they have quickly taken over the deck. Now, I am lucky enough that this is the second year that Proven Winners has sent me annuals of my choosing. Like I've mentioned, I was first contacted by them November 2022. I've been invited to a couple of their creator events, and they send me plants for free, which what else could I ask for? So what I wanted to do today, or I guess it's the evening now, is go through what I got. And I'm pretty sure I requested at least the majority of these, and I think they might have sent a few additional ones as well. There's also some perennials that I got that I want to go through too. But over the years, I would maybe do like one of a bunch of varieties, and now I've kind of narrowed it down to I like to grow multiples of plants that I really love. So a lot of these are kind of my tried and true, and then a handful of them are new for me to try out. So I'll give you kind of a quick look at everything that's laid out here. I also want to count and just see how many I have, and then we'll sit down and go through each of them in a little bit more detail. Now, I'm a person who loves organization, so I did attempt to put them in order from what needs like full sun to the ones that can handle part shade or full shade. And then each row is a different plant. So I got, in terms of the number of types of plants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's a good even and round number. So let's go through, and I think I have about somewhere between either 4 to 6 of each of these. So now I'm going to put one of each. We'll hang out on the couch over here, and we'll talk about the plants. So like I mentioned, this was a haul of annuals, and something I didn't know when I started gardening is that some plants are true annuals, so that no matter where you are, if you plant them, they only live for one season. Some plants are annuals based on your growing zone because they can't tolerate the cold that you get. So there are some differences between what is considered like a true annual, 1 year is its life cycle no matter what, versus an annual for your area. And I think a lot of these could be annuals in warmer areas than Chicago. But for me, all of the plants I'm going to show you in this haul are annuals here. So first up is the Angel Wings Sea Cabbage. And this is one that I saw in a magazine I think about a year ago. Actually, let's also say the scientific name, Senecio candidans. This is full sun, and it will get to about 12 to 18 inches tall. So these are annuals, except for 8A to 11B. They are hardy down to 25 degrees. Water, normal. Features, deadheading not necessary. Foliage interest, drought tolerant, which is great in container gardens. And it does say care is easy, but I think when I saw this, and I'm hoping not making this up, maybe I'll Google it really quickly and see, but I swear in the magazine I saw, it was shown as a houseplant too, and I would love to be able to grow one of these inside. So these leaves are super soft. They feel like a lamb's ear. I know there is a lamb's ears plant, but these feel like a lamb's ear, kind of like a cat ear, and they have the like white tinge to the leaves, and I think these are so pretty. Now, I don't actually know where most of these are going to go yet. We'll kind of figure that out as we go along, but I do know that I likely have more than I can fit. So any extras that I have, I will give to either my friends or some organizations just around the neighborhood, but I am very excited about this one. Oh, like I said, let me see what it said about houseplants on here, if I can find anything. All right, I'm just Googling with Angel Wing Sea Cabbage houseplant. Can angel wings plants be kept indoors? Is drought tolerant once established and is happy growing outside or indoors as a house plant? Okay, well, one of these is definitely going to be a house plant, and then I have 5 more to figure out where they're going to go. But again, this is a full sun plant. I will probably put it somewhere close to a window inside, but I am so excited for this. Then next are my number one, like I need to have this plant in my garden every year. And this was actually, I think, the first plant I ever knew the brand name of and went specifically to find that plant from a brand. And it's the Supertunia Vistas. The one that I specifically started with is the Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. I love the color. These are incredible. The growth habit is incredible. The size that one plant gets is incredible. Like, I think you can see back here, I have one plant in this planter, and it is going to fill that planter. Like, it's taking everything in me to not put a second one in there, but I know it's going to mound and completely cover that planter. But why I like these is that you don't have to deadhead. It's just a mound of color almost throughout the entire season. And the only issue I've ever had are with the budworms. I feel like I get budworms every year, but I love these enough to make it worth having them in my garden and deal with the budworms. So this is probably my number one favorite, is the Supertunia Vista bubblegum. But then other varieties that I've grown year after year and love are Supertunia Vista fuchsia and Supertunia Vista jazzberry. And what's funny is when I grow these separately, like if they're not near one another, it's hard for me to tell the difference, but when they're right next to each other, they look very different. So the fuchsia is obviously more of a pinky fuchsia color, whereas the jazzberry has more of like a neon purple color. So I love both of these. Again, same amount of vigor as the Supertunia Vista bubblegum. Let's look at the name tag for one of these just to get any more specific details. Full sun to part sun. If you want them to be as big as they can get, definitely do full sun. Heat tolerant, deadheading not necessary, a plant to use in the landscape. I obviously use them in my containers. Anywhere that you want like a mound or something flowing over, again, like those boxes right here, I want them completely covered. On the corner of one of my raised beds, I think I'm going to put some in my vertical planter, but these are like, I must have them every year. In fact, I got 4 of those from Home Depot just in case something happened with the order from Proven Winners. So Home Depot is where I can find Proven Winner brand plants in stores in Chicago. I'm sure there are some other garden centers, but they're not at every garden center. So I'll link where you can look on their website, but Home Depot is kind of my go-to in Chicago to find Proven Winners in store. Next is another one of my favorites, and I just tried this last year and loved it, so I asked if I could have it again. And this is the Super Bells Magic Pink Lemonade. I don't know if you can tell, my favorite color is pink. So I tried to not only get pink, but looking around, there's a lot of pink in my selection. But the flowers are smaller compared to the Supertunia. The plant itself also doesn't get quite as large, but it's still very full of color throughout the season. These are full to part sun. I grow mine in full sun, 6 to 12 inches tall. Let's see anything else of interest on here. Fertilize regularly. All of my annuals I do fertilize, especially my flowers to keep them blooming, and plant lasts until a hard frost. So I'm excited for these two. I don't know where I'm going to put these. My Supertunias, I kind of have the same spots. I put them in each year. These I'm not sure yet, but I know that they're going to be in my garden somewhere. Another plant that I tried for the first time last year and fell in love and knew I needed it in my garden again was the tricolor sweet potato vine. Now, my goal is to one day have a tricolor beech tree, but I don't know if I have the space for it up here in a container, but it's very similar. So the tricolor beech I love because the leaves are green in the middle, pink on the outside, and that's exactly what this is. So this is kind of like filling that need right now in my garden, and I love it so much. Obviously, there's pink on it, so that's why I love it. Now this one is full to part sun. It is a mounding trailing plant, so it only gets to about 4 to 8 inches tall, but these I also put either to trail over the edge of my raised beds or in containers. I have a lot of ideas of where I want to put this, but I love this one so much. I also just really like sweet potato vines in general for their trailing habit, so I got 2 other varieties. This one is the Proven Accents Sweet Caroline Sweetheart Lime, also full to part sun. The leaves are not variegated, just this solid, very bright green color. I like how bright this green is because it really pops when it's in the garden. And then, kind of the opposite end of that, I got Proven Accents Sweet Caroline Sweetheart Jet Black. Now, obviously the color on these is very different. The newer leaves do have more green to them. You can see that under there, but then they turn this deeper black. These are actually sun to shade, so these can handle a little bit more shade. I don't know if the color will maybe be a little bit less of this dark black color, but I'm actually planning to put these down in the front stair area, like on the front stoop. I will show you when I continue planting up the pots down there, but I think this would look, and actually I'm thinking of pairing it with something, so maybe I'll leave this here. But these are the 3 sweet potato vines that I got, and I am so excited to have these. I also like to, I can plant a Supertunia Vista and one of these next to each other, and one doesn't take over the other because they can both grow pretty vigorously. I have planted Supertunia Vista next to other trailing plants before, and Supertunias just took over, but these I feel like are also really good to plant next to each other. Another returning favorite from last year, I think this was actually new for last year's or new for 2025. Either way, I got to try this out in my garden and fell in love. Now, unfortunately, none of the ones I have are blooming yet, but I will put in some video or photos here. But this is the Superbena Pink Cashmere, and I had never grown Superbena before. This was so stunning. Consistent blooms. It actually had a good amount of pollinators that visited it as well. So this is full to part sun, 6 to 12 inches tall. Its habit is also like a mounding, trailing, but I would say this stays more upright mounding compared to like a sweet potato vine that trails down a little bit longer. But I absolutely loved this. I planted it with, I don't think it was Supertunia Vistas, but some other type of Supertunia. I can't remember now. Maybe it was the Mini Vistas. I think it was the Mini Vistas. And these just intertwined really nicely with each other. I think it was my favorite container that I just accidentally put together last year. But I'm so excited for these. Again, where am I going to plant them? Not sure yet, but they are going somewhere. That's all I know. Another one that I really enjoyed from last year was this Campfire Marshmallow Bidens. This is also full to part sun. These will get to about 18 to 14 inches tall, and they just have the sweetest little white flowers on them. I used to not really want any white flowers in my garden. I wanted as much color as possible, but especially out here on the back deck where I'm trying to make things a little bit more relaxed, I really have been enjoying having more white flowers. I also have the urge to shove these into my back bed, but again, trying not to do that. These have a mounding habit, but again, more upright, not trailing. The height is short, 8 to 14 inches, spacing 10 to 16 inches. Let's see, anything else here? Deadheading not necessary, heat tolerant. Heat tolerant and drought tolerant are really good for me because it gets hot up here. In fact, it was 80 degrees today. And I'm not sure if all of my newly planted seedlings made it. I gave them a second water and I'm hoping that they bounce back. But it just feels so much hotter up here, not only to me, but also to my plants apparently. Now this next plant, I don't know if I requested this one or if this is one that they sent out, but this is the one I've thought about the most and have brainstormed the most ideas for since getting it. And this is Coconut Appeal, and this is a climbing or a vining Black Susan. And I posted about it on Instagram and people say it can really go crazy. Which I like. I like things that climb up here, especially, again, smaller spaces. Getting things that can go vertical up a trellis is great. They are full to part sun. They can get 60 to 96 inches tall. So, well, first, let me show you. So they have the white flowers with the black centers, which this is the plant I think would pair really nicely because that black center would complement the black sweet potato vine. So I'm thinking, well, let me know your thoughts on this. If you ever grown this in a non-full sun environment, let me know how it does. Because I was thinking, I have a front gate. I put pots on the front gate using the railscapes. And oh, I didn't realize one of them had a flower. Hang on, now I gotta put these. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna like that. Anyway, so I was thinking I could put this on the front pot and have it climb up the fence. But it really is like maximum 4 hours of afternoon sun. So it is more intense sun, about 4 hours. So if you've ever grown this in a location similar to that, let me know how it did, because I don't think I'd want it just to climb. I would want to make sure that it also flowers. If it doesn't climb as vigorously because it's less sun, I'm fine with that. But let me know if you've ever grown it in a location like that. If not, I will find somewhere up here to put it. But let me know if you've grown any of these climbing black-eyed Susans in a part shade to part sun environment. Next, I got 2 sun patients. I got Orchid Blush and I got Purple Candy. Now these don't have the traditional tags, so I'm going to look these up really quickly. But also for plants like this that I've mentioned so far that I'll go through that do flower but haven't currently flowered, I will put in photos so you can see what they do look like once they're actually flowering. But let me look up the information on these really quickly. All right, so Sun Patience Compact Purple Candy. Ooh, compact. Maybe I can stick them between the perennials on the front. So this says height 16 inches to 2.5. Maybe they get taller than I thought. 14 to 20 inch spread, continuous bloom and rebloomer, heat tolerant, deadheading not necessary. I love that phrase when I see it next to a plant. Let's see what else is in here. Mounded habit, can fulfill the role of a filler in a container, part sun to sun. And it says category is easy. So I am excited for these. I keep going back and forth. They're going to be up on one of the two decks. Whether it is back here or the front, I'm not sure yet, but I am excited for these. Another plant that I've loved for a long time. I've grown it before. I don't know it's ever been proven winners because it's been one of those plants that I've seen at a garden center and picked it up and never paid attention to the brand. But this is the Silver Falls dichondra. Again, it has that silvery white color to the leaves. So I think this one planted near the angel wings would look really pretty. Maybe on my flower cart. I love this part where I'm just brainstorming where everything's gonna go. So these are full sun to part sun. Again, not very tall, like 2 to 6 inches. They are a trailing plant. But these I also did try as a house plant. I did kill it. But growing it, and they actually last pretty far into the season, but growing it as something that spills or trails over in my garden, absolutely love it. Always does great. It gets much larger than this. In fact, does it say, what does it say here for spacing? 18 to 24 inches. So it does do a really good job of filling in any space that you might want to have something trailing down in. I think I had it in the front pot last year. I definitely need to trim it a few times because it was getting very long and very wide. One that is completely new to me this year that I haven't tried before is the Angel Faced Cascade Pink. It's an Angelonia hybrid. It's full sun, gets 8 to 14 inches tall. Spacing on this recommended is 10 to 14, so I think these can be planted pretty close together. They grow more vertically, it seems like. They do mound and maybe come out a little bit, but they're not trailing as much as the Silver Falls dichondra, for example. So I'm excited for these. I think I'm definitely gonna put one in Nanette over here. I might include this in some containers as well. Lots of ideas for this one, but I like having something that has, again, different shapes to it so that I can pair them with the other plants. That was one thing I feel like I did wrong when I was starting off, is I would get a lot of plants that all had the same growth habit, and then there wasn't really much variety in the garden. So having some that are more vertical, climbers, mounders, spillers, all of that is good to have a wide variety of. Now I have to show you these two, which I love these so much. Tried them for the first time last year. Look at these. Look how pretty those flowers are. So this is the Selenia Apricot Begonia X Hymalis, working on those pronunciations. But this is full to part sun. It doesn't get very tall, just 8 to 12 inches. Spacing is also 8 to 12 inches. So a pretty compact plant, works great being shoved into containers. And then this one is the Double Delight Blush Rose. This one actually just says Begonia Hybrid, so it doesn't have the X Hymalis on it, but look at those flowers. I just love the ruffly blooms on these. And let me see, I can't remember if I had to deadhead this one or not last year. Deadheading, not necessary. I need to get a shirt that says that, although I think that would confuse people that aren't gardeners, what that exactly means, but I just love these. I love these so much. And did I say these are full to part sun, so they work really well up here? Because some begonias that I love, for example, the one I just recently got, it was Valentino White. I was planning to keep it up here, but that was more of a part sun, not blazing heat full sun. I could tell that one preferred to be moved down out front. But these two will do great up here, and I'm so excited. They are so pretty. And it looks like I just have two more. So this is the word that I feel like for some reason it's hard for me to pronounce, but this is the Rockapulco Rockapulco apple blossom. I am 90% sure I grew this exact variety last year, but this is an impatient, and this is part shade to shade. So this is 100% going downstairs. I was also considering pairing this because it has very, very pale pink. They might look white. They are very, very pale pink blooms on them. And I thought that would look really pretty with the jet black sweet potato vine as well. But I feel like if I put this in a pot with that and the climbing plant, this would just get swallowed up by the climbing plant. So I'm not sure exactly yet, but I know this is going to go down at ground level. And then the last one is a double up pink begonia. This is sun to shade. So maybe up here, maybe downstairs. I'm still not sure yet exactly where this is gonna go, but it gets 8 to 18 inches tall. And what does it say here for, spacing, 6 inches to 12 inches. You can shove all of these together. Deadheading not necessary, fantastic. Heat tolerant, sun to shade, I think I already said that. Upright habit. So that is everything. Those are the annuals that I got. Now I did get some perennials sent. So if you don't know, Proven Winners has different growers for the different categories. So the annuals come from one grower, the perennials come from a different grower, shrubs come from a different grower, houseplants come from a different grower. So these annuals were all sent to me at one time. It's made a mess inside, but one of the best messes that there can be. And then I got, maybe 8 perennials that I'll go grab right now and go through those. No idea where I'm going to put those either. Okay, so I did just look this up really quickly. All of the annuals that I just showed you are out there, ready, available. So again, some of these I do see regularly in garden centers, like the super petunias. They're always available. I think the sweet potato vines I always see. But you can also order from Proven Winners Direct for those varieties. The perennials I'm about to show you are early releases, so they won't be available to purchase until next season. So let me go through what I have here. This is the Kaleidoscope Razzle Dazzle Delosperma. Again, I'm not flowering yet, but look how cool those flowers are going to be. Now this says it is short, only 2 to 4 inches tall. Spacing is 20 to 24 inches, so it's going to be a low mounding plant. Bi-color flowers transition from raspberry red tips to fuchsia purple eyes around cream centers. Kaleidoscope Delospermas stand out on the market with large flower sizes and improved cold hardiness. It grows best in full sun and well-drained soil. Does not like sitting wet in the winter. So this would not want to be in a container up here because again, root rot is what takes out most of my plants. So I would have to put this either in the garage or plant it somewhere in the ground, which I don't really have a full-sun spot in the ground. So I'm going to figure out what I want to do with this. I will say my larger raised beds, I have less of an issue of root rot, but it still has happened with my bulbs. So we'll see. That's the hardest part with me for perennials, keeping them alive if I'm not moving them down in the garage. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. This is Webmaster Tridescantia. This is sun or shade, 18 inches tall. The flowers are like just starting to open up there, but they're going to be this very light, almost periwinkle color. Let's see what the information on here says. Height is medium, 18 inches, spacing 24 inches, hardy in zones 3 to 9. What was this one hardy to? 6 to 10. So I probably would not want to leave it outside in a container anyway. But this is more cold tolerant, so 3 to 9, could leave it out in a container if I wanted to. Blooms early summer through late summer, sun to shade. I think I'm gonna love this one. And now that I know it is that cold tolerant, this might be shoved into my perennial bed. Next is Bejeweled Rose Rhinestones, Penstemon barbatus. I love that name, first of all, but I also think this is one of my favorite colors of flower. It's like a really bright, hot, lipstick pink color, and I absolutely love it. So this one is full sun, 14 to 16 inches tall. It is 20 inches, 24 inch spacing, hardy in zones 4 to 8. It blooms late spring to early summer. That's one thing when you're working with perennials, like annuals, they pretty much, once they start blooming, they continue blooming throughout the season. With perennials, you do want to look at the different bloom times so that, again, you're not getting 10 plants that are only going to bloom in late spring. You want to make sure you have blooms throughout the season. So this one is late spring to early summer, full sun, deep rose pink is how they describe that color. I absolutely love that. Then I have dressed up prom dress, heuchera. This is sun or shade. I have really good luck with heuchera in my parkway, so I might add this down there. In fact, maybe we'll put some of the begonias down there for this year as well. But this is 8 to 10 inches tall, spacing 16 to 18 inches, hardy zones 4 through 9. Blooms midsummer. They have like tiny little spike blooms on them. Light sun to shade. I also love the heuchera that have these unique leaf colors on them. I mean, I love the green ones too, but these that are more like a deep purple, I really, really love. Next, we have Designer Threads Golden Needle. I feel like these names are all really good, like really creative. This is a Coreopsis verticulata, one of those two maybe. It is full sun, 18 to 20 inches tall. This one already has a bunch of flowers on it and a bunch of buds. This says height is medium, 18 to 20 inches, spacing 20 to 22 inches, hardy zones 5 to 9, blooms early to late summer, and it wants full sun. So I like on this one that it's not just the like golden yellow petals, but that it has that deep red in the center. It actually kind of reminds me of like my high school colors, is maroon and gold. I feel like that'd be good if I was doing some sort of like Chesterton High School themed planting. And then the last one that I have, which was the one that stood out the most to me, where I was like, wow, that is really unique. This is Touch of Blush Heliopsis helianthoides, which I know how to pronounce that one because I learned about it in my horticulture class last fall. So this is full sun to part sun, 18 to 20 inches tall. Says here spacing is 16 to 20 inches, hardy zones 4 to 9, blooms midsummer to late summer, and it likes full to part sun. Pink tones that appears on new foliage, accenting nicely with bright white variegation. Semi-double yellow flowers have multiple layers of overlapping petals. So it was the foliage that stood out to me, and you can kind of see like the blush pink around the edges, the white variegation. The leaves just stood out so much to me as soon as I opened up the box. I think this is stunning. Now I think, what was this? Yeah, full to part sun and zones 4 to 9. So this could potentially survive in the container. So I think if I was going to add to my perennial bed, which no, I don't have enough space for that, but I might just do it anyway. I think it would be these two, just based on, well, one, how much I like them, but also the hardiness zone. So we'll see. But I think that's going to be it for this video. So again, the annuals should be available. Whether they're in the garden centers or not, I'm not sure, but should be available to order. They're out and ready. The perennials, though, are all going to be for next year. So the ones that I grow, I'll let you know how they do. We won't know if they all survive until next year, but I am excited to get to try out new plants. And obviously, it's always such a blessing to get plants sent to me for free. I hope it continues. Like, I hope the partnerships that I've made continue, but I also don't ever want that to become like something that I'm not excited about year after year. I don't think it will be, but when you get used to something, like, I don't want to not appreciate all of the plants in the same way that I do currently. So yeah, that's everything. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, most of the annuals I have grown before, so you will see me planting all of these wherever I can put them. If I plant them at other places, I will try to take you along and show you that as well. But that's everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.